Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military with Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in the world on the 19th of March of 2026. Today we have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. There is a conflict on the territory of Ukraine that started in 2022. There is a conflict on the territory of the Middle East that started in 2026, but it seems that the European Union is the only who suffers most of all from this situation. During the previous 24 hours, lots of media made very interesting articles and statements on this matter. Gasoline prices in Europe have risen by 60% since the start of the Middle East conflict, according to Reuters. The European Union has no single universal solution to address this problem in the short term. Another important article was published by Bloomberg. The prices of oil and European natural gas rose immediately after Iran's statement about the damage to its energy facilities on the coast in the Persian Gulf, reports Bloomberg. Another important article is that in just one day, gas prices in Europe rose by a staggering 35% after Iran's attack on the world's largest LNG complex in Qatar, according to Bloomberg. Once again, according to the Europeans, there is no single universal solution to address this problem in the short term. But probably there is a solution for the European countries, and the solution is the Russian gas and the Russian oil. And this is exactly the thing that currently the European countries and politicals and leaders are discussing behind the doors. Moments of truth. Negotiations on Ukraine may force Kiev to cede territories. That was stated by the president of Finland. According to Stab, the negotiations may even break down, leaving Europe in a difficult situation without American aid for Ukraine. At the same time, Stab advocates a deal with Trump, which involves an exchange of the Strait of Hormuz for aid to Ukraine. He called it a good idea if Europe agrees to provide military assistance to the United States, with the unblocking of the strait in exchange for an assistance increase in American supplies to Ukraine. But it seems that this formula won't work because, according to information we have, the President of the United States of America told us that he doesn't need any help from anybody. And today, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, also emphasized that the United States of America needs everything it has. We are talking about missiles, we are talking about bombs, we are talking about arms and so on, which means that in coming days, the support to Ukraine will reduce significantly. And the Europeans don't have lots of time to think about anything. They need to act as soon as possible and as fast as possible, because the oil prices are growing. For example, let's compare the oil prices just during the day. So this is, for example, at 2 a.m. we had WTI on the level of $96.51, and for example, right after the Iranians attacked the Haifa oil refinery, the WTI crude was on the level of $100.88. So once again, almost every single attack, every single strike carried by the Iranians pushes the prices higher and higher. And of course, the coalition also attacked objects of energy infrastructure of Iran, and these attacks also push the prices higher and higher. Just during the previous 24 hours, lots of oil refineries and facilities were attacked by both sides. I would like to remind you that everything started with attack in the southwestern parts of Iran. We are talking about the largest gas field, South Path. This territory was attacked by the coalition, and as a result of this attack, phases from 3 to 6 have been taken out of operation with significant damage to infrastructure. And that was reported by Iranian sources. And later, probably a few hours later, the President of the United States of America stated that he knew nothing about this attack, and he called the Prime Minister of Israel, and he asked him not to attack the oil energy infrastructure anymore on the territory of Iran, because this is a very dangerous situation. This is a very dangerous situation for the global oil market. Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out of a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. So this is the statement that was made by the President of the United States of America, and he's saying that he knew nothing about this attack. But this statement didn't help him to stabilize the oil market, because the Iranians struck back, and the Iranians were attacking objects of energy infrastructure of the Persian Gulf states. The most important is that as a result of attack, the Ras Laffan industrial city was damaged significantly, and according to information we have, this is the world's largest gas to liquids plant, and this plant was significantly damaged, as you can see according to this picture. Later we received a lot of reports that the Qatarians decided to reduce the production of everything from this industrial city, which is the biggest problem. According to information we have, the Iranians continue attacking objects of energy infrastructure, and few more strikes took place on the territory of the city by the name of Yandu. Important oil prices are about to get worse, way worse. Iran tries to cut off the second oil road used to circumvent the Strait of Hormuz, as Saudi tries to move supplies there. Iran attacked a key facility for oil supplies from the Persian Gulf this morning, targeting the Samriaf oil refinery in the Saudi port of Yanbu, Reuters reports. And we have this picture. We have this picture where we can see a fire anomaly in this area. And as you can see, according to this picture, the Iranians probably managed to deal not a very significant damage to this territory. But anyway, as a result of this attack, the Saudi Arabians were forced to stop the loading of oil, and this situation also pushed the prices higher. As for the attack in this direction, there is a very important detail. I would like to remind you that there used to be a U.S. Gerald R. Ford airstrike carrier group in this area, and while this airstrike carrier group was there, the Iranians didn't attack this territory. But after a non-combat accident on the territory of the ship, and when the carrier group was forced to leave this territory in the direction of the Crete Islands, the Iranians attacked this territory, because this territory has become completely unprotected. So this is the situation, and if this territory indeed is completely unprotected, then most likely the Iranians will continue bombing and attacking this territory. We see that the Middle East are not able to do anything with the current situation. They can't unblock the Persian Gulf, they can't unblock the Strait of Hormuz, and during the previous 24 hours we received additional updates about the vessels and tankers that were damaged and destroyed in this area, those vessels that were trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz, but were attacked by the Iranian Navy. So we had a satellite picture, this one, and here we can see fast boat Navy, and this is the only source that Iranians currently have in this area. But as we can see, this navy is flexible and fast, and as a result of their attacks, probably not a single vessel, a tanker, was damaged and destroyed in this area. Another important thing is that during the previous 24 hours, the Iranians continue bombing and attacking in the western direction, and today we received lots of updates. For example, from Ben Gurion airport, this territory was attacked, and probably the biggest update is that the Iranians also attacked the Haifa oil refinery, which is located in the northern parts of Israel. And this is something that changes the game completely, and obviously these attacks will push the prices even higher than we can see right now. And the most important thing, that the coalitions are still very far from the landing operation, because the ships and Navy forces are still very far. Today we received additional pictures, additional satellite pictures that allow to geolocate the positions of fleets of the United States of America, the U.S. Tripoli and American-class amphibious assault ship, and the U.S. New Orleans and San Antonio-class amphibious transport dock were spotted transiting the Strait of Malacca. So they are still very far, and it will take lots of days before they come to the Middle East area, and it will take a week probably or several days more before they regroup themselves and begin the ground operation. And before it happens, we will see probably very high oil prices. Now let's return to Ukraine and let's discuss the situation on the ground. During the previous 24 hours, the map has been adjusted significantly. The Russians, according to information we have, managed to improve their position significantly in the Dobropolye-Konstantinovka direction. According to different sources, the Russians first of all managed to improve their positions around the settlement of Grishno, which is located to the south of the settlement of Dobropolye. This information was provided by pro-Russian sources. In coming days, we believe we will get additional updates. Now the Russians are tasked to cross the river of Vtoroi Yar and attack the settlement of Novoalexandriivka and Vasilievka, which these two settlements are located to the north of the settlement of Grishna, and it seems that the Russians are tasked to improve their positions in this direction. This is going to be a foothold before moving further in the northern direction towards the city of Dobropolye itself. Another route of attack is the roads between the settlements of Grishna and Sergeyevka. The Russians began advancing in this area also, have begun recently, and they're moving in the western direction. They will try to outflank the main Ukraine's positions to the south of the railways with the purpose to attack the Ukrainians from the back. As for the Drushkovka direction, the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation today reported that as a result of clashes, the Russians managed to improve their position significantly in the area of the settlement by the name of Pavlovka, which means that the Russians answered basically the Drushkovka agglomeration, because starting from the settlement of Pavlovka, there is almost no gap between villages, and now the Russians will keep advancing further in the northern direction from one village to another village until they get the settlement of Novogrigorovka. So now the Russians will try to move further in the northern direction with the purpose to outflank the settlement of Drushkovka from behind and to attack this area from the western direction. And this attack, if the Russians are able to complete this offensive operation on the ground, of course, this attack could lead to unpredictable consequences for the armored forces of Ukraine, not just in the area of Drushkovka, but also in the area of the cities by the name of Alexeyevka, Drushkovka, and Konstantinovka. As for the city of Konstantinovka itself, during the previous 24 hours, we haven't received almost anything. The sources are saying that there are very heavy clashes, but along the city borders. So the Russians probably managed to break through Ukraine's defense at several parts and several points of the city limits, but without entering deeper. So the clashes are taking place along the border. At the same time, during the previous 24 hours, we received reports that the Ukrainians began an unexpected counter-offensive operation in the direction of the city of Chasov Yar, and currently the clashes are taking place between the settlements of Shevchenka and Chervone and Nikolaevka. So in this area, it seems that the Russians didn't expect that Ukrainians will counter-attack in this area. They will try to answer the city of Chasov Yar and probably to cut physically the road M32 that the Russians used to supply their contingent between the cities of Bakhmut and the southeastern part of the city of Konstantinovka. So this is a very interesting counter-offensive from the Ukrainian side, and we'll see how the things are going to develop. At the same time, today the Russians also reported that they managed to capture the settlement of Fyodorovka Druga. So these are the changes on the ground between the dates, and we adjusted the map based on the report published by the Minister of Defense. Furthermore, the Russians are keeping advancing further in the direction of the settlements of Dibrova, and the sources are saying now the Russians are moving further in the direction of Alexandrovka. Furthermore, several sources stated that first sabotage and reconnaissance groups managed to answer these northeastern parts of the settlement of Alexandrovka, so most likely there we're talking about these territories. So the battle for the most important defense layer of the city of Sloviansk has begun. As for the Sloviansk direction, as for the Liman direction, during the previous 24 hours, we haven't received anything special. As for the northern Kupiansk direction, as we discussed in the previous video, several pro-Russian sources shared this video where we can see how Russian soldiers, according at least to the author of this video, were moving through the settlement of Kovsharovka. But as of the end of the 19th of March of 2026, we haven't received additional proofs that the Russians established complete control over this territory and that the soldiers on this video were the Russian soldiers. So that is why we will keep the map as is until we get additional and better details about the situation on the ground. Another important area is the Zaporizhzhia direction, where the Russians and the Ukrainians continue attacking each other. During the previous 24 hours, we received lots of videos, and probably this one is the most important video. Here we can see how Ukrainians were attacking Russian positions, confirming the edge positions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation. And there was another video published. Maybe we will discuss this video during the next day. But there was a video how the Ukrainians were attacking in the area of the settlement of Ribne. The video dated on the 18th, probably of February of 2026. We will think about this video, and maybe tomorrow we will adjust the map between the settlement of Ribne and the settlement of Vishnyovo. Maybe we will add additional territories under complete control of the armed forces of Ukraine. Furthermore, we received a very interesting video from the western Zaporizhzhia direction from the settlement of Richne. Today, pro-Ukrainian sources published this video where we can see how Ukrainians were counter-attacking positions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation on the territory of the settlement. So in this video, we can see how Ukrainians were attacking this building. And first the Ukrainians were moving along this road. The Ukrainians answered this part of the settlement, landed infantry, and attacked this building and captured several Russian soldiers. So based on this video, we added additional gray zone because it seems that after this attack, the Ukrainians retreated towards the settlement of Grigorovka, which means that most likely the Ukrainians have access to this territory, but they don't have strong control over this part of the settlement of Richne. Furthermore, Ukrainians and the Russians continue attacking each other, and we continue receiving lots of updates from the area of the Black Sea. The Ukrainians during the previous 24 hours attacked the southern parts of the Russian Federation using hundreds of drones. Several sources reported that there were around 230 drones attacking this part of the Russian Federation. And the most important thing is that the Ukrainians continue attacking the Russian infrastructure on the territory of the Crimea. In this video, we can see how Ukrainians were attacking headquarters and positions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation on the territory of the city by the name of Sevastopol. We see that Ukrainians currently have no problems to attack military objects along the entire Crimean Peninsula, and it seems that situation will continue. We see that the situation in the Black Sea continue worsening, and we see that Ukrainians using the Starlink equipment have lots of possibilities to attack deep inside of the southern regions of the Russian Federation and so on. And most likely the Ukrainians will continue doing this in the future. And that's it for today. The Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.